Entering your 50s and 60s brings a shift that most men never fully prepare for. For decades, your life may have been filled with responsibility, work, family, bills, deadlines, raising children, building a career, solving problems, being the man everyone depended on. And then, one day, the noise starts to disappear. The children grow up, the career slows down, the house becomes quieter. Your schedule finally belongs to you. And strangely enough, this freedom can become uncomfortable. Many men look at that quiet house and think something is missing. They mistake peace for loneliness. They mistake freedom for emptiness. And because they don't know how to sit comfortably with themselves, they rush back into relationships simply to fill the silence. That is where the problem begins. Because when you start dating from loneliness, you don't choose a partner. You choose relief. And relief can make you ignore things that your wiser self would normally recognize immediately. You overlook red flags. You tolerate unnecessary drama. You lower your standards. You give too much too quickly. And before long, you have traded the peace you spent decades building for a relationship that feels like another responsibility. Stoicism teaches something very different. Your peace should not depend on another person. Your fulfillment should come from your character, your purpose, your discipline, and the way you choose to live. Your 50s and 60s are not the beginning of your decline. They can be the beginning of your renaissance. But only if you protect what you have already earned. 1. Don't date just to escape loneliness. The first mistake many men make is simple. They become uncomfortable being alone. So they start searching for someone to fill the empty space. But being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Loneliness is believing something is missing. Solitude is realizing that nothing is missing because you are comfortable with yourself. That distinction changes everything. When you can sit alone in your home without desperately reaching for your phone, you become harder to manipulate. When you can enjoy your own company, you don't need someone simply because they are available. And when you don't need a relationship, you can finally choose one intelligently. You can ask better questions. Does this person bring peace into my life? Do we respect each other's boundaries? Do our values actually match? Do I enjoy who I become around her? Or am I simply afraid of going home to an empty house? That last question can save you years of regret. Never enter a relationship simply because silence makes you uncomfortable. You work too hard to earn your freedom to give it away just because the house became quiet. 2. Don't become someone's safe harbor. By the time a man reaches his 50s or 60s, he has usually developed something extremely valuable: stability. He knows how to solve problems. He knows how to manage money. He knows how to remain calm during difficult situations. He has experience. He has wisdom. And those qualities can make him extremely attractive. But there is a danger. You can become attractive for what you provide rather than for who you are. Someone may love the security you represent, the comfortable lifestyle, the emotional stability, the reliable presence, the man who always knows what to do. And at first, that can feel wonderful. You feel needed, you feel appreciated. But slowly, something changes. You become the problem solver, the driver, the financial helper, the emotional support system, the person everyone calls when something goes wrong. And eventually, you realize something uncomfortable. You're not building a relationship, you're managing one. That's the trap. You don't want to become someone's permanent safety net. A healthy relationship should contain mutual care, mutual respect, mutual responsibility. You should not constantly feel like you're carrying another adult through life. Because if someone values you primarily for what you do for them, what happens when you stop doing those things? That question reveals the foundation of the relationship. 3. Protect your inner fortress. Your 50s and 60s can be the first time in your life when your time truly belongs to you. Think about that. For decades, someone else may have controlled your schedule: employers, children, family responsibilities, financial obligations. But now you finally have more control. You can wake up and decide how you want to spend the day. You can travel, train, read, work on a business, learn something new, spend time with friends. Enjoy your hobbies. Sit quietly and drink your coffee without having to explain yourself. That freedom is not emptiness. That freedom is wealth. But the wrong relationship can slowly take it away. First, it's something small. You change your routine. Then you stop going to the gym because she wants breakfast together. You cancel a trip because it causes an argument. You stop seeing certain friends because they make her uncomfortable. You spend weekends doing errands that weren't part of your life before. Then one day you look around and realize your world has become smaller. You didn't lose your freedom overnight. You traded it away one small compromise at a time. Stoicism reminds us that time is one of the few resources we can never recover. Money can be earned again, possessions can be replaced, but yesterday cannot be purchased back. So protect your time, protect your energy, protect your peace. 4. Don't become an emotional caretaker. Another danger of dating later in life is inheriting someone else's unresolved past. By your 50s or 60s, almost everyone carries history: divorce, family conflicts, financial problems, difficult relationships, adult children, past disappointments, old wounds. None of this automatically makes someone a bad partner, but you have to understand the difference between supporting someone and carrying them. Support says, "I'm here for you." Caretaking says, "Your emotional stability is now my responsibility." Those are completely different things. If her mood controls your mood, if her family problems become your problems, if every crisis requires you to become the solution, you are no longer simply a partner. You are becoming an emotional caretaker, and that role can slowly drain the life out of you. You spent decades building emotional stability. Don't surrender it because someone else hasn't learned how to manage theirs. You can be compassionate without becoming responsible for another person's entire emotional world. You can care without carrying everything. That is what boundaries are for. 5. Protect your masculine renaissance. There is something powerful about a man who reaches his 50s or 60s with clarity. He knows himself. He knows what matters. He knows what he no longer tolerates. He has learned from mistakes. He understands that time is limited, and perhaps for the first time, he can build a life around his own values rather than society's expectations. This is your masculine renaissance. It is a period where you can become stronger mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. You can return to passions you abandoned years ago. You can strengthen your body. You can sharpen your mind. You can travel. You can create. You can build something meaningful. But this renaissance requires protection. Because the wrong relationship can make you smaller. You start compromising your goals. You stop pursuing your interests. You become distracted by constant emotional conflict. You spend more time managing the relationship than building your life. And slowly, the fire begins to disappear. You become a quieter version of yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. That is not love. That is self-abandonment. A relationship should add to your life. It should not require you to destroy the life you spent decades creating. 6. Stop looking for someone to complete you. This may be the most important lesson of all. You don't need someone to complete you. You need to complete the life you already have. There is a massive difference between wanting companionship and needing someone to save you from yourself. If you approach dating from desperation, almost anyone can look like the answer. But when your life is already full, your standards become clearer. You don't ask, "Will she choose me?" You ask, "Does she belong in the life I've built?" That's a completely different mindset. You become the gatekeeper. You don't close the door to love, you simply stop opening the door to chaos. You can enjoy companionship, you can enjoy romance, you can enjoy feminine energy, you can share experiences with someone, but you don't have to surrender your identity to do it. A partner should be a bonus to an already meaningful life, not the foundation holding that life together. Your second act. So if you're entering your 50s or 60s, don't look at this stage of life as something you need to escape. Look at it as an opportunity. You have survived things your younger self couldn't have imagined. You've learned lessons. You've built experience. You've developed strength. And now you finally have something incredibly valuable: choice. You can decide what your next chapter looks like. You don't have to rush into a relationship because the house feels quiet. You don't have to lower your standards because you're afraid of being alone. You don't have to become someone's caretaker just because you're capable of solving their problems. And you certainly don't have to sacrifice your peace just to have someone beside you. If you choose to date, date consciously. Move slowly, watch behavior, protect your boundaries. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you feel energized or exhausted? Do you feel respected or controlled? Does your world become bigger or smaller? Those questions matter far more than chemistry alone. Because at this stage of life, peace is not boring. Peace is the reward. Your quiet home is not a punishment. It is proof that you finally have control over your own time. Your independence is not something you should apologize for. It is something you should protect. And the greatest relationship you can build in this chapter is the relationship you have with yourself. So don't enter your second act looking for someone to fill an empty chair. Build a life so meaningful that the chair is already surrounded by purpose. Then, if the right person comes along, she doesn't become your entire world. She becomes someone who gets to share in the world you've already built. And if no one comes along, you still have a life worth living. You still have your health to protect, your mind to sharpen, your purpose to pursue, your experiences to enjoy, your freedom to defend, and your future to create. That is the Stoic way. Not rejecting love, not fearing companionship, but refusing to trade your peace for temporary comfort. Because the greatest mistake a man can make in his 50s or 60s isn't being single. It's finally earning his freedom, and then giving it away because he was afraid of being alone. Your second act should not be smaller than your first. It should be wiser, stronger, quieter, and completely your own.